What's up, guys? My name is Danny Ramirez. I am the co-writer and director of Star Wars Theory's Vader fan film.
I don't believe you.
I've been making films for a while. I got a master's in film from USC. Not that anybody cares. They just kind of throw those out like a dime a dozen. But I love Star Wars. Every single time a Star Wars or Marvel or some other movie comes out, my phone gets bombarded with text.
Several transmissions were beamed to the ship,
Asking me, what'd you think about the movie? What'd you think about this part? And so I thought, why don't I just do a daily video to talk about Star Wars so I don't get all these texts?
This is not gonna work.
I'm just kidding. I just really like this. So I figured, you know what? For this inaugural episode on this to-be-named Star Wars YouTube channel, I'm going to talk about Solo. Because a lot of people keep asking me, Danny, why do you think Solo bombed? It had a decent opening weekend, then dropped off like 77% to the next weekend, and then plummeted the weekend after that. I mean, the real question that I'm asking is, why is nobody going and telling their friends, go see this movie? Because personally, I thought Solo was a fine movie. I thought it was entertaining. Was it the greatest thing in the world? No. But I think Ron Howard's a great filmmaker. I love his style. I love his films. I think Lawrence Kasdan is a great writer. I mean, remember, he gave us Empire and Return of the Jedi. And Force Awakens.
And not very good at telling stories.
I want to talk about all the reasons that people are giving and why I don't think they're correct. The first thing I just want to dispel completely from your minds is, it is not because of Star Wars fatigue.
What?
It's just plain and simple not the case. You guys remember when Ant-Man came out and everyone was like, Ant-Man, are you freaking kidding me? Marvel is gonna tank with that one. But the thing blew up. Because it was a good movie. It was funny. People saw it and they went and told their friends, you gotta go see this movie. It's funny. The characters are great. Then you got Black Panther. Blew up. Then you got Avengers Infinity War. Blew up. So if Marvel can keep just churning out all these films like crazy and with no fatigue, and the box office actually just keeps getting bigger and bigger, that's not the problem with Star Wars. Star Wars ultimately has a larger fan base throughout the entire world than Avengers does. And so, why?
How embarrassing.
The second big reason that people are giving is The Last Jedi. Now, I tend to agree with this because a lot of Star Wars fans, including a lot of my friends who are very into the franchise and are skilled filmmakers themselves, they did not like The Last Jedi for many of the reasons that have already been said by a lot of different people on YouTube and the media, particularly concerning Luke Skywalker and how he wasn't a Jedi. He wasn't really the same character as he was in the original trilogy.
And I became a legend.
And I'm going to do an entire video on the new trilogy and how it doesn't really meld with the original trilogy. So I'm going to kind of put that aside right now. But the idea that Luke didn't use the Force caused it to not really feel like a Star Wars film. And so this leads to the big reason why I think people are not telling their friends to go see Solo. When you think of Star Wars, what is the one thing that comes to mind? I mean, it's probably like something like, you know, this, maybe? Kind of? Yeah? Jedis? The Force? Where was that in Solo? Yeah, we got like 20 seconds of it with Darth Maul at the end, and this is a full-on spoilers channel, so I'm sorry. But throughout the film, there was no Jedi, there was no talk of the Force, there was none of that.
Thought it was a bunch of mumbo-jumbo.
And so in the end, how can you have a Star Wars movie without the Force? Now, I mentioned this to some of my friends. I'm like, well, what about Rogue One? I'm like, no. A, you got Darth Vader and throughout, peppered throughout the movie. Plus, of course, the awesome last scene. Doesn't it just make you shiver with joy? But anyways, you have Darth Vader's scene, plus you have the characters speaking about the Jedi throughout the film in regards with the Kyber crystals.
He said they powered the Jedi's lightsabers.
And so the Jedi, the Force, you got Chirrut Irrwitz saying,
I'm one with the Force is with me.
The idea of the Force is a constant thread throughout this entire film, throughout Rogue One. And so it's alive and well in that film, despite the fact that there are no Jedi. But with Solo, we have none of that. Honestly, it feels like a Star Trek film.
We were on the verge of greatness.
There's a lot of gunfights. There's a lot of cool action. It's entertaining. But in the end, what makes Star Wars, the Force, is completely absent from the film.
We were this close.
And this is the big thing that nobody's saying. It's like, how can you make a Star Wars film without this?
I agree.
And this is one of the reasons I'm a little iffy on a Boba Fett film, because I worry that they're going to take the same path as what they did with Solo and just make it this space adventure film. But take out the one essential ingredient that makes Star Wars Star Wars. The Force. Again, I'm just going to keep repeating that. The Force, the Force, the Force. Be one with the Force and the Force will be with you. That's the ingredient for a Star Wars film. You have to have it. Otherwise, it's Star Trek.
Don't underestimate the Force.
But I love Star Wars. I want to keep seeing Star Wars for the rest of my life. I want Lucasfilm to just keep churning them out, but I want them to be good.
So, what's our plan?
Which is one of the reasons I'm directing Star Wars Theories Vader fan film, which is awesome. Back it.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
But I can't wait to do this channel with you guys. I hope that you'll return every single day. Hit subscribe, like the video. I'll get an actual name for this YouTube channel soon enough, and then we can actually really start getting something going here. But I hope this has helped. Remember, Star Wars is not Star Wars without the Force, and I think people innately have seen that with Solo, which is why they're not telling their friends to go see it, despite the fact that it was a pretty good movie. But it just didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. I'll see you next time, guys. Ciao.